Welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast, our first episode of 2025. Justin is not here with us, but welcome back, Dimitri, as always, our co-host.
Yo, what is up?
But we took a short little break, during the holidays. Our typical Wednesday nights, kept falling on Christmas and New Year. So it's a nice little break, but ready to jump right back into it.
Yes.
This start of 2025 is going to be a really fun one because, we're talking about, the new ships coming in 2025 today. Next week, we've got a pre-cruise podcast for a last-minute cruise on the MSC Seashore, followed by a review, and then immediately followed by another pre-cruise podcast for the Venezia. So it can be a fun start to the year. But yeah. Actually, real quick, is there any of these ships that stand out, just what you're looking forward to the most?
I think it's a pretty big year for stuff that's come out. I mean, 2024 was a big year too with Icon. But I mean, nothing really came out that was crazy this year.
Mm-hmm. It is crazy to think that like last year, it was the first time we ever got the first and second largest cruise ships in the world, like in the same year. And, will that ever happen again? No, probably never. But with that in mind, we're actually getting more ships over 200,000 tons this year than we did last year, even with that factored in.
That's just how it's going to be from now on. I mean,
absolutely.
Who's building stuff that's smaller besides Norwegian, Disney, or the luxury cruise lines?
Right.
Really.
Like going forward, especially once, I think the term has been thrown out before. So I'll say, Project Ace from Carnival is going to be the 200,000 ton project. They've got that working. Norwegian's got something working that's 200,000 tons. So it's going to be crazy to see what happens over the next, couple of years. But yeah, this is the first time, even with that crazy year that we had the 1 and 2 largest ships in the world come out, this year we have even more that exceed that 200,000 tons. And that's the first time we've ever had 3 in the same year too. So it's pretty awesome.
Very true.
But we'll start, right off the bat. We're going to start with Norwegian Aqua, get this one going here. Norwegian Aqua, of course, the third in class. But the cool thing is this one is actually going to be a little bit different than her sister ships, Prima and Viva.
I'm so excited for it, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. It's, and plus it's going to come to Canaveral, which is nice, at least for just a little bit.
I've only seen pictures of Prima and Viva. I haven't gotten to see one of them in person yet, surprisingly.
Really?
I'm literally going on one in a couple months, but I have not seen one of those class yet.
That's crazy. Yeah, having Prima in Canaveral, which she's going to come back, I think, at the end of this year, which is cool, with the Joy. But yeah, that class is really pretty. It's a pretty class of ship. Like, they're very nice. Class. Yeah, I always enjoyed seeing it. So it'll be nice to have not only Prima come back, but having Aqua come. The biggest thing for me is the fact that it's going to have a different paint job.
I really like the paint job. Shout out Coop. He said he does not like the paint job. I disagree with you.
It's not quite as bad as Encore's where it looks like paint splatter, but I don't really know what I don't know what it is with the Aquas. Like, I don't know what that paint job is. It doesn't look terrible.
I don't know what those are either.
Right. Those are just swirls of pink and blue paint.
Yeah, purple.
Much, much better, though, than just copying over the same thing. Literally, the Prima and Viva, the only difference between those two paint jobs is that one's blue and one's purple, which was like my biggest thing against those. I was like why did every other ship in the Norwegian fleet has a different paint job, but these two apparently have the same.
Oh well. But no, I'm excited for it. No go-kart track, a big water slide, a little bit bigger. I kind of looked at the deck plans. They're not as, a gazillion things all over the place, but a lot of similarities between that and Viva. But I'm excited for it. Like I said, it's coming to Florida. It's right where they need it. The itineraries are boring. I guess that's something else we could talk about. We talk about these ships that the itineraries are very boring for Aqua, typical Norwegian, but oh well, it is what it is.
I feel like Norwegians are better than some of at least the main 3 or main 4, but there's still nothing crazy. I mean, Tortola is probably the most exotic, when you're comparing the normal 3.
Rated. A lot of people say, "Oh, Tortola." I'm like, I had a great time there. I love it there.
Yeah,
it's kind of
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, the less known island there. It's beautiful, and I mean, I know she's going to be going to Great Stirrup K2. Just a matter of time. They need to get that dock done.
Yeah, that's true. It's supposed to be done by the time we go on it, but who knows if of course, things may happen and we might move that into a different ship, but that's a different story for a different day.
Case in point, Escape missed Great Stirrup today because it was too windy. So
because actually I remember a couple weeks ago when we had Antonio on for that Miravilia review, he was saying the last 3 times he's been to Great Stirrup Key, he missed it because of not even because of weather. It was just because it was just choppy.
Yep, we missed it a couple times too. But no, excited for Aqua. It's kind of one of the top on my list of tonight.
Yeah, it'll be good though, and 10,000 or not 10,000. So 10% larger is kind of the biggest thing here. I've heard a lot of things about Prima and Viva being a little too cramped for what they tried to accomplish with them, but I think a good 10%. It seems about 12 to 15-ish and some change tons larger. I think 156 is the actual number.
And I mean, I think that's honestly perfect size. Encores 170, 169, breakaways 135. Are they not 140?
I think they're 140 or so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So somewhere in there, it's a good size. And I mean, the thing is with the Prima class, what they tried to do is the rooms are a lot bigger than other ships.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a balcony room, it's got 250 square feet versus 190/200. So they kind of marketed towards that, but I don't know. I can't wait to go on Viva, but I can't wait to see the reviews of Aqua, and hopefully they do the social media thing right and do a couple media cruises and get people hyped up.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's one of the things that Norwegian maybe missed out on a little bit with the previous 2, or at least Prima, they seem to have done a good job, but Viva just it appeared and disappeared instantly.
Yeah, well, because it was 2 months late, so
that's true.
Oh well.
Yeah. Also, just quick check in the chat. Let us know if the audios are good. Make sure not one of us are louder than the other. But yeah,
blasting people's ears off.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But yeah, the cool part is, this and Luna are going to be, the 10% bigger. And then of course, 5 and 6, which to my understanding are Maxima and Ultima. I could be completely wrong there.
I like the names of those, are Umbra or Vela.
I think originally Umbra and Bella were going to be used for, I think Viva and I think Aqua. Those were the 2 original names for those 2 ships. But Ultima and Maxima, I believe, are the 2 last ones. Of course, subject to change, but that's kind of what I've been hearing. Which I think are fitting because those are the 2 biggest ones and then the last 2 in the class too.
Yeah.
So those would be good. And yeah, they're going to sit around about 170, which is perfect. Honestly, anything in the 170 range is awesome.
Yeah, it's good. You can get a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah. And then the biggest change, of course, is going to be the lack of the racetrack, which I like the racetrack because it's cool, and I like the whole go-karty atmosphere, but I don't think that really belongs on a cruise ship. As much as I
No, and
love go-karts and driving.
They've done it 4 times now.
Right.
There's really no need to do it, any other time. So you know what? Been
They
there,
shouldn't
done
have put
that.
it on a smaller ship. The biggest thing. They just shouldn't have done it on a smaller ship. It looks great. It seems to do really well on Bliss and Encore and Joy, but you put it on a smaller ship. They kind of condensed it a little bit and kind of stacked the track a little bit to where it's multi-level. But even then, it just takes up way too much deck space.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't know if I told you, but somebody, there was a tweet that was floating around that somebody asked, or somebody made a joke that said, "Oh, there's this new water slide, but Norwegian's going to charge for it." And then Norwegian tweeted back, "Oh, we're not doing that," with a wink face. So I guess the slide's going to be free, which is good.
Good. I always made the joke that they would charge for it just because they seem to monetize everything on that pool deck of their ships nowadays. Yeah. But that's also just me being jokingly saying oh yeah, they're gonna charge for it. But I mean, I'd be completely shocked, and I'd be probably very, very anti-consumer of them to do that. It's a water slide. I mean, come on, do you really think somebody's gonna pay $5 to go on a water slide?
No.
So, and I think Norwegian knows that. So I don't think they're actually going to be charged for, and that's good to know that they kind of acknowledged it.
Yep.
But yeah.
But Coolio.
So
What's next on the list?
looking forward to Aqua. But yeah, we'll move on to our next one. And this one, I would say, hot take, I'm a little bit more excited for this one than Star of the Seas.
Well, I think I know what's coming.
MSC World America.
Love
I've got to say, I mean, Icon has its hype. Star of the Seas has its hype. It looks incredible and everything like that. But Star of the Seas is number 2, and yeah, so is MSC World America. But we haven't seen number 1 yet here in the U.S. So this is going to be brand new, fresh into the U.S. market, brand new type of ship, and kind of that up and coming competitor. Finally, there's a competitor. Yeah, finally, there's a competitor to the Oasis class, let alone the Icon class. The way that they're building this one up, originally I thought it was going to be an Oasis class competitor, but I genuinely think World America is more designed to take on the Icon than anything else.
Oh, I think it was a direct shot, 100%.
Direct shot towards Icon, and that's also not even including MSC has plans. I mean, to make something that's bigger than Icon. Yeah, nothing's official yet, but I mean, it's come out that they're in talks with Meyer Werft to do it. So I would be shocked if they didn't. I've kind of heard other things, and I'd be shocked if they don't even go further than that. So, MSC is really going all out, over the next, 10, 15 plus years. So, but yeah, I think World America, in my opinion, is one that I'm most excited for, and I think the one that everybody should actually have their eye on over Star is great. And the biggest thing, pricing.
Very true.
So, I mean, that's because I'm booked on Star. I've said this several times. I'm booked on Star of the Seas, but we're considering canceling it just due to pricing and things like that. I can't afford it or anything like that. But honestly, do I want to spend close to $5,000 for a Central Park balcony on Star? No. I can go on World America 2.5 times for the price of my 1 week on Star. Which one would you rather do? Would you rather do 2 to 3 cruises or 1?
That.
So, I mean, yeah, but
I mean, the other thing is that World America or World Europa, I should say, has gotten so many good reviews. I haven't seen anything bad come out about that ship.
It's
in
gorgeous.
The videos and stuff.
That is one of the most just. If anybody's listening or watching, obviously after listen to the rest of the podcast or video or whatever, but do yourself a favor and go check out the World America, because that thing is just beautiful. Or the World Europa. I mean, that's one of the most just pretty ships, very well like designed and just decorated on the inside of it. Very elegant, but not, over the top or anything like that. It looks amazing.
Yep,
And
amazing.
World America is just going to be better, but you know, this is one of the three ships coming out this year that's going to be over 200,000 tons. This one arguably being the smallest, surprisingly, at
Yeah.
205. But yeah,
That's
205,000
okay.
tons on
That's
this.
nothing to snuff at.
Oh no, not at all. The fact that this is going to end up being number 10 on the top 10, like largest in the world by the end of the year, is nuts. But
Yeah.
200,000 tons
And not to
is,
mention the huge terminal they're doing in Miami, for
oh,
sure.
that thing looks incredible. Again, this is again another just shot towards Royal Caribbean. I mean, they that like parking garage just for that terminal, and that terminal goes all the way up to the edge of Terminal A where Royal Caribbean docks their ships. I mean, they are literally saying, "Hello," like
Yeah, right.
they're saying, "Hi, Royal Caribbean. We're here to kind of take your thunder." Like Royal
No, they are.
Caribbean they built Terminal A where they did because like there was no terminal there. They didn't renovate anything. They didn't do anything, to an
Yeah.
existing terminal. They built that from scratch, from the ground up, to be, having an Oasis and eventually an Icon class right at the front of, Biscayne
Miami.
Boulevard. And when you look down the channel, the first thing you're going to see is the giant, Oasis or Icon class ship. So that's like why they put it there, because they want that to be the biggest and greatest thing that you see right up front and center. But now
Not
MSC has gone,
anymore.
hello, we're gonna put a World America, a world class ship right here for you. A terminal is technically big enough for two of them, but will that ever happen? Probably not. Not anytime soon, at
No.
least. It seems like all four to eventually five of these are going to go to different regions of the world, anyways.
Yeah.
I think at best we're going to get the fifth one, but who knows? I don't think they've executed the option for five yet. If they have, they haven't said anything about it,
I gotta
which
say, I
is
mean, it may be coming, but I wouldn't be, surprised if by then, they come out with a different class. It either
right.
be there's something big or something be medium sized. I mean, it's all up
Right.
in the air.
Essentially, this is going to be the quietest. Right now is going to be the quietest MSC is going to be for the next 15 years. I guarantee it. Because at least this period right now, because once World America hits, they're going to go all out. They're probably going to announce. So there is an option for five. 99%, well, I would say 9 times out of 10, a cruise line, if they have an option, they're going to execute it eventually. The Sphere class with Princess is a very weird exception to that. So I would be shocked if they don't do a fifth world class, but then they have that, negotiations and plans are still going on with that thing, in the
Mhm.
background where they want to go over Icon. So, you know, once World America hits, they're gonna ride that hype train. They're gonna go crazy following that. So it's gonna be great.
My boss is calling me from work. One sec.
Okay. I'm gonna check in with the chat, see how you guys are doing though. Just see if there's anything cool about let's see, Mr. I see MSC is doing sea trials for World America. Yes, so I did see that. I think it's just recently came back or something like that. But yeah, it seems like she just finished up those sea trials. So she and Aqua are both. I think Aqua is scheduled. I think it's got it listed for March, and then World America is being built or finished in April. So pretty much the first two out this year are going to be those two ships. But honestly, World America is the one that I'm really, really looking forward to because that thing looks incredible. Let's see. Picture this: MSC World America, Icon, and Norwegian ship docked in Miami. Yeah, there actually will be days. So I think it's later next year once the Luna comes out at first, but there are going to be 10 cruise ships in Miami pretty much every Saturday, including World America, Icon, and Luna, all back to back to back. And I think celebration will be a different day, but it's going to be crazy. I mean, Miami's going to be, you know, a lot to handle, but yeah, and they've also got World Asia. The biggest thing with this world class, the only thing I don't like about them is that, doing the regions with the names is really neat. It's something that, we haven't really seen done before. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many ships that I'm aware of that are named Europa. But, in this case, World Europa, World America, World Asia, I'm kind of bummed that it's going to go to Asia, but, it's going to be cool, to have additional ships in that class. Welcome back.
Thank you. What did I miss? I know I said saw something about the chat. So.
Oh yeah, I just kind of checked in with the chat a little bit like that. But yeah, I mean, following World America, we're gonna have the World Asia. I'm not huge on the fact that it's gonna go over there, but I think they have a pretty good base over there.
I was gonna say, not only that, like they've had they've had a Meraviglia one over there. Virtuoso was over there, wasn't it?
Bellissima is over there. Yeah,
between there and Dubai.
She does cruises from China and Japan, and I think all the way down to Taiwan. Because I've seen, just kind of like looking at random stuff. Because honestly, like again, I'm going on my first MSC cruise next week, so I'm just kind of like learning about them a little bit more over like the last week. But yeah, Bellissima sails like out of Yokohama in Japan, which is pretty neat. Which they have that same dumb rule apparently that we have, where they have to go to a foreign port. Because like the video I was watching, the guy was like, "Oh yeah, we're like we're like going around, around Japan, but then we're going all the way down to Taiwan and then coming back up to Yokohama." I was like,
I didn't know any other country had that besides us.
Yeah, I know. That's a very American thing. I think the Japanese team seem to like us pretty well. So they, but yeah. Do I know what the fourth one's gonna be named? I do, but I just can't. If I wouldn't be getting in trouble by saying it, I would probably tell you, but I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you. So I do.
It's the World Antarctica.
Okay, that's not it. That's definitely not it. But
no, we'll just go with that. That is it. You said it. World Antarctica. That's it.
I had heard that they looked into that name though.
Nah, it's a joke.
But I would not like that. But it is another region, but that's all I'll tell you. Because I just don't know how much I'm supposed to tell you or allowed to tell you. World Canada. Coop. But yeah, I think. But yeah, she's gonna be doing 7-night cruises from the Port of Miami, Eastern and Western Caribbean cruises. She's essentially taking over for Seascape.
Basically.
Yeah, and then Seascape is going to move to 3 and 4 night cruises, kind of like what the
Utopia and Wonder.
Yeah, and what Seashore is doing up in Port Canaveral. So, honestly, that's what I think with the 3 and 4 night market, MSC might be Royal's biggest competitor right now because, there's not really much competition when it comes to the Carnival Glory or the Conquest. Norwegian's just not doing it at all. So,
besides Joy, when they start doing it next year.
That I'm very excited for. That's going to be a awesome ship for that itinerary.
Yeah, it is. But I'm very excited for World America. Like I said, I've seen a gazillion videos on World Europa. Mm-hmm. Great reviews, great ship. Big competition for Royal. Good
and it seems like they're only improving that, and they're just only adding to it. The whole area in the back looks incredible. And it's gonna remind me just of Icon, really, because they got that giant ropes course back there and a giant water park on one side. The ropes course.
Big swing.
They're taking that. Yeah, they're taking that. That Ultimate Abyss. The shot back at them where. They put Venom on World Europa and then took the record of the longest dry slide. So Royal added like 10 feet to the Utopia. And now I'm pretty sure this one's taking that record back. So I love to see the pettiness between these two. But yeah, it'll be fun to see. And yeah, like you mentioned, the big swing on the side. No thanks, but that does look pretty cool.
Come on.
No, thank you. I'd rather.
If I do it, you're doing
not.
it. So.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm gonna go on World America, but I may not go with you if that's the case. Oh. Yeah, and so, but with that, we'll kind of transition out because we're kind of just rambling about the World America right now. But that's definitely that's definitely the ship I'm looking forward to most, even more than Star. But
Yeah.
it's a good transition because Star of the Seas is the one that's next on our list. Not these aren't necessarily in order, although Aqua and World America are in order. But this next one, of course, is Star of the Seas, being the new world's largest cruise ship. I guess they said it's not going to be, but why wouldn't it be? It's the same thing as Icon.
Right.
But 250,000 tons. So, I mean, that's still a monster of a ship. That's going to be really awesome to see that here in Port Canaveral.
Canaveral, out of all places, yeah.
Canaveral. That's going to be so cool. Seeing the Oasis class here in Port Canaveral is always awesome, like having a wonder, but I can only imagine how crazy that's going to be having an Icon class in Port Canaveral every single week. Excited.
Very exciting. And
I seem to say a lot about, pricing and things like that, but like seeing that ship every weekend pretty much is going to be absolutely incredible. So I am very, very much looking forward to this ship.
And I mean, I haven't heard too much about any big changes that are coming to Star over Icon.
Yeah. I heard they were adding a hot tub, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, hot tub.
Yeah, right. And then, sure, it's the world's biggest, and it's going to be here. Typical Eastern Western itineraries.
Yeah, I mean that class is so big that there's going to be so limited on where they can go. I mean, it's going to be Rotan, Costa Maya, Cozumel, Coco, or St. Thomas, St. Martin, Coco. Essentially.
Yep, that's it.
But yeah, built in Meyer Turku, just like the last one. And then of course Icon 3 is built pretty much. Have you seen the pictures of Star right now? Because you can see Icon 3 coming along pretty well.
Icon 3 right in the background, yeah.
It's like that. I mean, the blocks are starting to, they've got the whole like bottom of the ship ready to go. It's like they're going to start stacking stuff now, which is going to be really cool. So I would say probably within the next month, I would say we'll probably end up getting the name for Icon 3, but that one's going to be interesting on the name. I don't really.
We don't already know it.
Yeah, I hope it's not. I hope it's not Legend, but that seems to be what a lot of people are saying. I was told it's not Legend, but I also wasn't told what the name could be. So all I was heard is it's not Legend, but at the same time I'm hearing everything else saying it is. So we'll just have to see. I don't want it to be Legend. I don't think it deserves. Okay, not that Icon 3 isn't going to be an incredible ship, but I just don't like the fact. I've said it 100 times, but they did it. Carnival did it good with Mardi Gras because it was the first in class. It was a big new, generation. Like a new era for that cruise line for Carnival.
Yeah.
So pretty awesome and to have, but then. This is just it's an Icon class. It's going to be incredible anyways. It's, but it's just not that big, giant leap that Carnival took that ushered in a new era. This is just a third in class. So I don't think it warrants, a reused name. I think it should have something that's original. But Royal, if you're listening, make it Idol of the Seas. I want that to be the name. I think it's perfect for the Icon
That'll
class.
Be number 4. It's fine.
Idol of the Seas. I want it. I was told it's not, so don't run with this. But I want that to be the name.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see it in Canaveral.
Yes, it's going to be very awesome to have.
Prices are crazy. People will pay them. Please stop paying people so that the prices come down.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with Star of the Seas. Again, I'm unbelievably excited for it. I'm currently booked on it. Whether or not I sail or not is still being evaluated. Do I want to lose my deposit? No. But if I can go on something cheaper that's comparable, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
no, yeah, I'm excited for it too.
It's gonna be a great ship. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna serve Port Canaveral really well over the next couple of years, and yeah, she's going to be an awesome ship to have here, and looking forward to it. Also, natural gas. So another one being added to the LNG fleet for Canaveral. So we have so many of those now.
So will it overlap with like Treasure, Wish, or Mardi Gras, if, or even to have them in this port at the exact same time, are they going to be able to be fueled together?
So there's multiple bunkers that they have now. I'm not
They
as
do have
knowledgeable.
multiple now.
Yeah, so I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as Tyler is when it comes to this, because he obviously knows all the ins and outs of the port operations as well, because is piloting stuff. But
Mhm.
um, there's two, I think 1 to 2 that are in Canaveral, and there's 1 or 2 that are in Miami. So they're all kind of interchanging within each other. So it seems like they fill up. They fill up in Jacksonville to fill up the ships. They'll move down to Miami, fill up the ships too. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all works. But I don't think it's not going to be in the same time. So Treasure and Mardi Gras are both LNG. Those are going to be both Saturdays, but this is going to be a Sunday ship. So it's not going to overlap. But overlapping is Treasure and Mardi Gras. But that's already going on.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that big of a deal though for them, at least not at the moment.
Okay.
Next up on the list though is Star Princess. We got 2 stars coming out this year. The second one being Star Princess.
Interesting.
Yes, this one's just a sister ship to the Sun Princess, so 175,000 tons, Sphere class, number 2. Coming from Fincantieri, Carnival's favorite.
Yeah, I mean, another, Sun class ship. It's been doing
Right.
well so far from what I've heard.
I've heard great things. My parents' next door neighbors went on Sun Princess. That's actually where I got my Sun Princess model. Thank you guys if you're watching this. But yeah, they seem to really like it. They said it was great.
Nice.
The cool thing with Star Princess is that I have seen that it's going to go to Alaska, which is really cool. That seems like a cool ship to do in Alaska.
Very cool.
It's going to start in Fort Lauderdale for next year, so not anything wild, but after its first season, it's going to hang out over in Alaska and do Los Angeles in the off seasons afterwards. So we definitely have to see her at least once or twice before she heads across when she starts getting here later on this year.
Yeah. The real question is, will it have a ropes course?
Yeah, that's up for debate. That's actually what I'm kind of curious about, if they're actually going to finish that this time around or if they're just going to leave it blank. I've definitely noticed there's no mention of it this time around.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm definitely looking forward to that one. That's going to be a fun one to see. And that's when Sky Princess is going to move up to Canaveral here when she comes out too, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, nothing too much, I guess, with that one, especially being a second in class and everything. But another one that's going to be really fun, and it's actually coming from the same shipyard as World America, so Chantiers in France. But we have the Celebrity Xcel, the 5th and final Edge class.
Love.
Yes, that's like one of my favorite classes to see, which we're going to get Apex in Canaveral this year, which is going to be so cool to have.
Yeah, that is cool.
But yeah, the Edge class, honestly, that was like a huge leap for Celebrity, and have like those ships are very, very nice looking. I'd love to at least get a tour of one of those, if not sail on it.
Yep.
But that one's going to sail starting in November. It's going to sail 7-night cruises from Fort Lauderdale, which this one actually is going to go to Miami eventually too, which is kind of cool to have an Edge class in Miami. So
Yep.
definitely some fun stuff with that one. 7-night cruises from Fort Lauderdale, about 140,000 tons. So that 140 is honestly, that's like a perfect size. Like these ships are
Nice.
for for celebrity's never going to be like an over the top cruise line. They're more of the luxury, traditional cruise experience. So having these smaller ships like Edge, which Edge and Apex are actually smaller and
They are.
Beyond Descent and Xcel are actually bigger. I think maybe by like
Is
15,000.
the same size as Ascent in them, or is she a little bit bigger?
I think it's the same. If anybody in the chat could fact check us on that one, but I know it's 140,000. So I don't know. Edge are about at 133. So
Those are smaller.
So yeah, not by a whole lot, but it's definitely bigger. Yeah, those would be cool. And yeah, the Edge is actually like in Alaska last year, which is really cool to have.
Yeah, she's in Australia now, is she?
I think so. I think that seems to be her thing, is that she's going to do Australia in the off seasons, which is really cool.
She's the same size as Ascent and Beyond. She's actually a little bit smaller.
Is she really?
So it's 141, 420 for Beyond and Ascent, and then Xcel is 14600. So the tiniest bit smaller.
That's probably. I wonder where that's coming from, but all right, well, whatever.
1,000 tons is coming from maybe a new fuel system.
Could be.
Flex fuel engines.
Oh, I have heard she does have that flex fuel going. It's going to be like methanol and something else.
Yes, but maybe the engines are lighter.
That could be it. I can also see my cat in the background of my camera here. It's kind of cut off on the stream, but I can see her stepping on a remote, so there might be a blast of some sort of sound in the background if she steps on it.
Oh,
right?
We know what kind of sound it's going to be.
It's going to be a ship spotting video.
Here's Carnival Mardi Gras departing.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to be a cool one to have, for sure.
Yes.
And then what?
I said, "Oh, was that your chair that was moving?" I heard.
No, I accidentally kicked the cord for the LEDs that are underneath my desk, and they turned off. So I was like, "Oh."
Nice.
I saw them go off, and I tried to like move it with my foot to kind of get it back into the socket, and I was like, "I'm gonna shock myself." So I kind of like let it go, and I heard the boonk. But speaking of, hi Belle.
I guess
next, really the last two notable ones are both Disney. The first time ever we're getting a double Disney year, which is this year in 2025 is going to be something really crazy to kind of remember.
Yep.
My Belle. Everybody say hi to her tail.
Oh my
Jesus. Nope. She messed up the stream. Sorry. You know how cats are.
Get it together.
Yeah. For anybody that can see the video right now, this is the most awkward position that she's sitting in. She's so comfortable. But yeah, so 2 Disney ships this year, which is going to be crazy. Definitely a first. But we'll start with Disney Destiny, which of course is a sister ship to Wish and Treasure. Treasure, of course, it just came out, did her maiden voyage 2 weeks ago now. I think she's on her 3rd sailing, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, built in Meyer-Papenburg, the typical, building hall. That's like one of my favorite shipyards for ships to come out of, just because of that, that building hall where they have to pull it out and everything like that. They do it very uniquely there. Yeah, nobody really does it like Meyer-Papenburg does. The only downside, and of course it's kind of proving to be their downfall, which is really unfortunate because they're now starting to kind of struggle a bit, is the size, because the largest thing that can ever come out of there is the Carnival Jubilee, and the Carnival Jubilee has already been built. So, I mean, unless somebody, everybody seems to be putting in these orders for 200,000 plus, but it's going to be, interesting to see, because that size ship can't fit into that shipyard. But yeah, so I see it in the chat. But yeah, Disney has 4 new ships that are also on order on top of all of these. I've heard those are going to be very similar in size, but I've also heard there is an additional class in the works, potentially. So that'll be interesting. But the one that they've got in the works is going to be much bigger, like Mardi Gras announced, is going to be either similarly sized or maybe just slightly smaller. We don't really know what kind of size they're going to be, but I've heard smaller, I've heard bigger, but they're also working on something in the background on top of all this, which is crazy to think about for Disney.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for it. They're good that they're kind of coming out with more ships. Magic and Wonder are getting a little long in the tooth. I mean, I know they'll keep them around a little bit, but
I think Disney also sees. I mean, Disney definitely sees like the potential that the cruise market has. I mean, the theme parks aren't doing as well. I mean, you can go into a giant rabbit hole with Disney's financials, but their financials haven't been great the last few years. But they see this great opportunity for the cruise industry, and they're like, well, why don't we make up for that? Some of these poor mistakes that we've made, or some of these money pits that we're in. Why don't we make up for that with the cruise sector? Because this is now something that we could really grow our business by adding more cruise ships. So Disney sees the opportunity. So we're going to see a lot of new Disney ships over the next 10, 15 years, which is awesome. They're kind of growing at the same rate as some like normal cruise lines, rather than Disney just kind of having a little side quest here, like it always kind of has been for the longest time.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
For sure. I mean, it'd be nice if they had affordable pricing to, Disney's always going to have crazy pricing, but it'd be nice to have something that's, a good price to go on. Cause I'd love to try the Wish, the Treasure, all of these ships. Just a little bit too much. Especially like for 3 nights. Yeah. But the cool thing about Destiny, though, is this is actually going to be the first ship ever for Port Canaveral. I guess both of these, ships coming out this year. But these are the first ships to not be home ported in Canaveral, at least to start with. Of course, we've had Europe, Australia now, Alaska, all sorts of stuff. But to start out with, every single Disney ship has started in Port Canaveral. Which is cool to see. But Disney Destiny is going to do, I think, isn't it 4 and 5 night cruises?
Yeah, it's shorter, like 3, 4, 5s or something like that.
Yeah, but she's actually going to be sailing from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. I mean, they just built that terminal.
They built that, yeah. They built that terminal. It looks great, too. It's actually kind of cool. It looks like an old, like, retro... Like, it looks like something that you would find, like, in the 50s. Like, it's got a very retro vibe to it from the street. Mm-hmm. The street view of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see.
Like ocean liners, so.
Do what?
I said their ships look like ocean liners, so I'm here for it.
Right, exactly. They're going to be, they're always designing ships that look like old ocean liners. Even they were able to take the Global Dream, and this is our next ship that we're going to talk about here, but they're able to turn the Global Dream, this monster-looking thing, and make it into kind of an ocean liner-esque type of ship.
Mm-hmm.
But then, let's see. But I guess that's all kind of for Disney Destiny, but this is going to be, of course, another one of the big heavy hitters. And the third ship this year that's going to be exceeding 200,000 tons, the Disney Adventure. And I actually do want to do a video, so you might see this like in maybe in the next few weeks or something like that. But like this ship has had one of the craziest construction life cycles I have ever seen.
Oh, 100%. Like we've seen nothing on it. The ship was like halfway built. They started from like ground zero.
Yeah.
Because they needed to Disneyify every single square centimeter of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
to put it in perspective, so Star Cruises, the original owner, ordered this ship in 2016. And it originally had a completion date of 2019. Then the company restructured, and it ended up going over to Global or Genting, Dream Cruises, and ended up being rebranded as a Global Dream. Got delayed about a year, and then COVID hit. The ship was still half finished, and the cruise line and the shipyard went bankrupt because I think the cruise line owned the shipyard too. And so the ship just kind of sat for like a year, and then Disney picked it up, I think in 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And what was originally like $1.6 billion of a ship got picked up for like 34 million, which is a steal. But of course, Disney probably put another billion into it just of refitting it and creating, the Disney Adventure. But to think that the ship is now, this project is now in its 9th year, and that's excluding pre like R&D before ordering and things like that. Like this ship has probably been like in the drawing boards, and leading up to this point has probably been at least over 10 years. But at least from the order date, we're now in the 9th year, which is unbelievable to think about. But this is going to be a really cool ship, though.
Very cool.
Yeah,
looking forward to it. I mean, we did the video on like walking through the ship. We did a podcast on it.
We have done a podcast on this one specifically in the past. I mean, it's going to be great. And this one's going to be cool because Disney's always wanted to do Asia as one of their markets, but they've just never really been able to, figure out how to, get a ship over there. But this was kind of because the ship was originally going to be built for Asia. So, if anybody knows anything about, how cruising is over in Asia, it's much different than what we get here in the U.S. And even Europe. Not really a whole lot of focus on outdoor deck space. A lot of people just like to gamble over there, and things like that. It's not even like destinations. People just kind of get away for, a few days to do whatever.
Yeah.
But like, sunbathing, pool days aren't really a thing for the Asian people. So, there's not a huge thing. That's why originally on the Norwegian Joy, we saw just a park up there. Like it was a green grass, like it was a AstroTurf.
Pool in the corner. The pool's still in the corner.
Right, exactly. But yeah, it was like an AstroTurf, like kind of park up on the pool deck, like green grass, fake trees, things like that. It's not going to be like that on Disney Disney Adventure, but yeah, it is crazy to think that, that was kind of like their opportunity to go, okay, well, we've been wanting to put a ship over in Asia. This one kind of has the structure for it, or at least the foundation to do it. Why don't we just like pick this up? Which was not a very Disney thing to do. They normally do not like to pick up somebody's secondhand stuff.
Yeah.
Disney likes to do it in the most expensive way possible because they can do it their way and no one else's way. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how this turns out, really. The weird thing about this one, yeah, for sure. The weird thing about it is it's going to do 3, 4, and 5 night cruises from Singapore, all that we just said, but the cruises kind of just go to nowhere.
Yep, they're just sea days.
There's just sea days on that, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I wouldn't mind spending a couple sea days on that thing. It's just weird to think like, oh, let's do 5 nights in the Disney Adventure, but it's not going to go anywhere.
The real question is, will it become a Norwegian Joy, Quantum of the Seas, and MSC Bellissima, and sail to other markets eventually?
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of the ships that are getting moved over, they're just replacing it with other things. Like, I mean, Norwegian hasn't pulled out of Asia. I mean, they put the Spirit, and I think the Jade is going to go over there.
It looks great. I saw what's her name's video on it. It looked very nice.
Yeah, I mean they seem to do really well over there. I think it was more of like they had more of a demand for the Joy specifically, like with that class. Norwegian's got more of an appeal for the mega ships here than the smaller ships now, to where it made more sense for them to swap 2 little ones for 1 big one, kind of thing. MSC Bellissima, that's going to come over to the U.S., or it's going to start sailing from LA, but that's also on the heels of World Asia kind of taking over for it, which is going to be awesome. But
Yeah.
I could see, so hot take, if so MSC of course just recently announced that they're going to put the Poesia, their a little 90,000 ton ship, they're going to put that in Alaska this coming year, which is the first time I've ever done Alaska. But I can guarantee, and I say this because the Seaside class is not built for cold weather. So, with Alaska in mind, I don't think you're ever going to get a Seaside or the Seaside Evo class. You're never going to see those in Alaska. But the Merivelia ships are good for stuff like that. And I would definitely say, especially with her sailing out of Long Beach and LA, that if the Poesia does well, I think the Bellissima is going to be the next ship that they put up in Alaska.
She's already technically over there, so it would make
right.
sense.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's easier to go from Japan to Alaska and Seattle than it is from, even further south. So, you know. But yeah, I mean, I could absolutely see, if Poesia is even remotely successful for Alaska next year, or is it this year or next year? I think it's this year. I don't remember.
I think it is this upcoming year, like in 6 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If Poesia is even relatively successful, I think we're going to see the Bellissima, which I think is going to be a fantastic ship.
Because everybody else is in Alaska but them.
It's a growing... Alaska is a crazy market because it attracts so many traditional cruisers and so many traditional ships, but the mega ships are starting to just creep in and just dominate over the last 5 years. Once we started seeing the Norwegian Bliss back in 2018, and then of course, crept up with the Quantum ships, now we're going to have 3 Breakaway Plus ships over in Alaska next year, either this year or next year. I thought one of them stayed. I think the Joy stayed over here. I think it stayed in New York. But they have 3 on the schedule. They have Encore, Bliss, and Joy all on the schedule for Alaska. I think Joy's doing the long ones. But and then they've also got the 2 Quantum class over there, plus the additional Radiance ships over there. It's getting right, exactly. I don't know why Carnival. I feel everybody's over there. Carnival Firenze would be great for Alaska because it has that retractable roof. I don't know why Carnival hasn't put her or the Panorama over there.
Yeah, that's very true. But they stick Luminosa over there and continues to get bad reviews. But we'll just leave that at that.
Yeah, that's the Luminosa. But yeah, I think the Bellissima is going to be a great ship to go over to Alaska if it does. MSC, if you're listening, 1, hit me up. 2, I think you should put the Bellissima over there.
3, hit him up.
And 3, hit me up. I honestly, I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk about it a little bit more next week for the pre-cruise. But if this Seashore cruise is any good, which I've been hearing great things about it, so I'm almost positive it will be. But if this is a good cruise on Seashore next week, MSC is going to be my guy. They're going to just... you can cruise for a fraction of the price as anybody else, and and they've got some beautiful ships, so I'm excited. Yeah. But anyways, so transitioning back to it though, that's kind of the list, at least for our heavy hitters for next year. But which one are you most excited for? That we've kind of run through.
Time between Aqua and World Europa. I mean, both of them. I mean, I'm excited to see both of them. I mean, I hope Norwegian hits it out of the park with Aqua because they really need that.
Yeah, they really do.
World America, I think it's already going to be a hit. So as long as it stays true, they got the book in the bag.
Right. Yeah. I think, I kind of agree with you with Aqua there. I mean, Prima and Viva were good. I mean, Viva kind of just appeared for a day for the naming ceremony and then disappeared again. Yep. But Prima was relevant for a little bit because there was so much hype behind that ship. And the Project Leonardo, there was so much hype leading up into it, and then it was just very
meh.
And Right. It was an underwhelming response,
Good.
and
Like a
I
lot
don't.
of people like it, a lot of people don't like it, but a lot of people were
Right.
underwhelmed. Thought they were going to be over.
Right, exactly. And that's nothing against those ships. That's just kind of like what we've heard of. Obviously, I'd love to just try them out just to get my own experience from it, but I think everybody also has different views on their experiences and things like that. Every cruiser is different.
Yep.
But it seems like a lot of people felt underwhelmed by the Prima, and definitely the Viva, just because of the Viva just disappeared so quickly again. But the Aqua, given its bigger size, and it's going to go to Miami, Port Canaveral, even up in New York for a little bit. I think Norwegian finally recognized its opportunity that it has, and I think they'll do good with it, especially putting it in Miami, especially when Luna comes out to team up with it too. And then, yeah, like you said, MSC World America as well. I mean, I think Star is going to be the biggest hit of the year, absolutely. But, just given the, MSC being kind of the new kid on the block type, vibe behind them, they're not going to get all the hype that Star is going to get. But I do think they absolutely deserve it. That's for sure. The World America looks like it's going to be one incredible ship. And one cool thing I noticed, and MSC kind of posted a reel about this on Instagram the other day, but so with the Seaside class, how they have that like panoramic or like aft facing elevator bank, they have something similar to that on this class of ship. Imagine you're on the boardwalk, kind of, for anybody that's been on the Oasis class, you have that like big wall, like where the doors are, you first come out into the boardwalk. Imagine an elevator bank being on that wall, so like you could go down an elevator overlooking the boardwalk. Like that's so cool sounding. And that the World Europa has that, and so does World America. Like there's so many really cool things. And MSC is like the only company that I've seen or cruise line that seems to have like they just have fancy elevators. Like they have like a set of really fancy elevator banks, and then they have the normal ones.
Yep.
It's really interesting to see how they do it, but yeah, I think World America is definitely the one that I'm looking forward to the most. I think the ropes course that they have is going to be really cool because that looks like it's huge.
It is huge. Yeah.
It's like 3 levels, which it reminds me of the ones that NCL does or used to do, because those were the best ones. Carnival may have been the first one to do it, and Carnival has good ropes course, but it's a circle, which is fine. But with NCL, it's just you go up the set of stairs. You can do anything and everything you want. You can go any direction, any
zip line, 2 stories
zip line.
tall.
Right, zip line, the little rope ladder thing, or you can do like the little, grab the rope and you kind of swing across. Like there's so many, and you don't have to do it in any particular order. You could just do whatever. And that seems like what this one is like with the World America as well. So it looks awesome. And I noticed the dry slide is a shark this time. Because I know Europa is
It's not a viper.
Yes. So yeah, it's a viper or a snake on the World Europa, and it's called Venom. So I don't know if I'm assuming it's not going to be called Venom on World America, but it is a shark.
The shark bait, ooh ha ha.
Shark bait, hoo ha ha. Yeah, that one I'm really, really looking forward to. I also noticed they have like a replica of the lighthouse from Ocean Cay.
Yeah,
On the
I've
ship.
seen that.
It's going to be that whole area is just going to be like, it's going to essentially just be like their way to compete with the, the Icon class and like their Category 6 water park and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I think the fact that they're adding a ropes course is better. For sure. I mean, yeah, they have the Flow Rider.
Star has Crown's Edge.
Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't have it.
Okay.
But
Like an expanded version, maybe, instead of 2 obstacles for $90.
yeah, oh my god, yeah, it was like $90 when I went on the Icon. That's the only reason I didn't do it. I was like, dude, I'm not paying $90 for this. It's like 5 seconds. It's cool because like, yeah, you go out over the edge of the ship, but $90 for a 30-second experience is a little much.
It's a little steep. But yeah, I know you're excited about MSC, so I'll reserve that question.
Yes, well,
for the audience.
So yeah, with ending on MSC there. Yeah, so next week, for those who don't know, because it was pretty last minute, I mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but for those who don't know, I booked a last minute cruise on the MSC Seashore, and I leave next Thursday. So next week's podcast will take place on Wednesday as usual, but it will be a pre-cruise podcast where I leave the following day to go on MSC Seashore and my first ever MSC experience. So I'm very excited to share it with you guys, and I'm very excited to talk all about it next week, and of course with the review following that. But with that, of course, thank you, Dimitri, for joining me as the co-host as normal. And thanks to everybody who is watching live here in our live chat here on YouTube, or anybody that's listening, watching, whatever you are doing on Apple Podcasts or even on Spotify. Thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.
Peace.